It's another segment. Are you ready for this? Emotional unavailability. Tapping guys
Kid Fear Patchy, you know the thing go. We just there, go and hold that vibe. You know it go.
Good night, everyone. Come on in. Tap in authentically tonight. It's Saturday night. You might hear some loud explosions on the outside. Don't be afraid. Come on in into my space, into my royal space. Come on in, guys. Good night.
It's another segment. Are you ready for this? Emotional unavailability. Tapping guys
Kid Fear Patchy, you know the thing go. We just there, go and hold that vibe. You know it go.
Okay. Good night, everybody. I am late. I do apologize for my tardiness. Good night. Good night. How are you all doing? It's Christmas Eve. I guess everybody is tidying up, getting the last minute shopping in, Christmas gift, tidying up the house. You know, some people who haven't tidied their house all year round, waiting for this season. Good night, everybody. On my reels, come on in authentically. Please tag somebody, text somebody, tell somebody, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend that we're here live tonight. We have another episode right here on QC Uplifting and Inspiring Ministries. We are live. We are ready to talk up the things them chat about and that me say.
Yeah, roll up, pull up on the new chill spot, Saturday Night Live with your number one sensible specialist. Chat about, and that's it say. What you say? Meet her up there, live with Royal Cleopatra. She'll chat about a whole heap of things. Yeah, health, wealth, lifestyle. Yeah, man. She'll go put in a little sense of humor in it and talk about the Almighty God. Meet her up there, Royal Cleopatra, Saturday Night Live. Car. Jean, June and Sharon, them say that them love it. That's what they say, yeah. Saturday Night Live, Royal Cleopatra, meet her up there.
Yes, guys, Royal One with the Royal One, Royal Cleopatra. You know that's moi. Tonight's topic, we are going to be speaking about emotional unavailability. So while we wait for others to come on in, I am sharing my live. Please, I'm asking you as you come on in, please to do the same. Share your live with everybody. We want to have a very interactive session tonight. I want to hear your side. I want to hear what's your standpoint. What is your perspective on tonight's topic, emotional unavailability? Have you been experiencing this? Have you experienced this? Do you know someone who experiences this? Do you know someone who is emotionally unattached, emotionally detached, emotionally unavailable? We're going to talk tonight. I want to hear your views, guys. Happy holidays. Happy holidays. It's the Christmas season. And the season, we, a little bit of grow up and come up and we hear about John Conan, we hear about this and we hear about that for all my Caribbean people. Remember Christmas Eve? Christmas Eve, we go out and we see the junk on them and we run from them and all of these things. Merry-go-round. Yeah. Christmas time is a wonderful time of the year, guys. All right, so I am going to also be telling you about some happenings before we start the show. I have this lady that I want to speak about, and her name is Rose Lewis. And Rose Lewis, she is a nurse, and she is running for some position in the Jamaica diaspora. As you can see, Rose Marie Lewis for Global Jamaica Diaspora Representative for Southern USA. She's right here from Florida, and I want you guys to vote for her. Her mission is managing and encouraging the 13 southern states to build a stronger relationship between Jamaica and the diaspora by creating a deeper engagement. Who can vote? Jamaican-born people, from someone from Jamaica, Jamaican heritage, 18 years and older, residents of Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Missouri, North Carolina, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas. If you're in those states and you're residents, you can vote. The diaspora accomplishments, she's sitting president for the Jamaica Diaspora Southern USA. She's a past treasurer for Global Jamaican Diaspora Southern USA. She is the U.S. President Lifetime, she has received the U.S. President Lifetime Achievement Award. So some of those are her accomplishments. And her initiatives has to do with health, education, digital leadership, crime, economy. These are the things that she wants to tackle. As it relates to health, I'm big for that. She wants to implement measures to decrease the growing cases of non-communicable diseases and promote well-being for all ages, introducing new methodologies and technology in the advancement of medical care, targeting healthcare workers, remote diagnostic findings, consultations, treatment, and health monitoring. Telehealth, I'm sure you hear about that's coming, guys. Telehealth of the elderly or chronically ill patients in the convenience of their homes to reduce emergency rooms visits and save lives. Access to electronic devices are improving in isolated areas. Digital leadership to advise the government on harnessing human resources in the diaspora, facilitating knowledge transfer in key sections. Crime, we know that's a big issue in Jamaica. Explore innovative methods of crime fighting to support the government of Jamaica's efforts. Education, we know education is the key to success. That's what they say. Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all, plus enhance virtual classroom experience. Invest in early childhood education by planting reading labs in the primary schools, one district at a time, funded by diaspora community resources. Introduce the birthright program to foreign-born Jamaicans and to be a conduit for scholarship opportunities and work experience. So, for example, I was an international student. And as an international student, you are limited to certain resources, including scholarships. So she wants to introduce the Birthright program to foreign-born Jamaicans and to be a conduit for scholarship opportunities and work experience. Adapting the STEAM strategy, the new emphasis on science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics as a new pathway to success. As it relates to economy, Provide support for poverty reduction through modern sustainable farming and food development techniques, leading to more self sufficiency. So, that is what Dr. Rosemary Lewis is promoting. So, guys, I want you to please vote for her. Registration has already started since November 10, 2022, and it goes up until the new year, January 2, 2023. You can receive email ballot from Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Remember to vote, 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 vote. And I see a date here, January 10, 2023 to January 27, 2023. So I'm guessing that that is your voting period. Please do not let this opportunity pass you. Your voice, your concerns concern us, and together we conquer. Don't forget that, guys. Together we conquer. So please go out. Please go out and vote, vote, vote. Vote for Dr. Rosemary Lewis. It is important, guys. If you want to see change, then you have to start with change. So what's up, my people? What's going on? I hope that you heard that. I'm promoting Dr. Rose Lewis. Please vote for her. She's a part of the Jamaica diaspora. You know, I'm a Jamaican by birth. You don't know the thing. We support anything Jamaican all the way, all day, every day, all year round. And guys, we are approaching the end of 2022. What are your New Year's resolutions? What are your plans? Are you strategically planning anything different for the upcoming year? Guys, we have to go back to the drawing board, some of us. And as it relates to relationship, guys, listen, we're ready. Tap in. You know the deal over here. We keep it real. It's Saturday Night Live with Royal Cleopatra representing for QC Uplifting and Inspiring Ministries. What is emotional unavailability? Does anyone know what is emotional unavailability? You know, we may have the fancy definition of emotional availability, but I just want to say my little piece here as it relates to emotional unavailability. What does it mean? All my realists, please tap in tonight. Tap in authentically. So, you know, when someone says the man or the woman no want you, the man or the woman just no want you, what we think about, sometimes it is because we are in denial. Sometimes, you know, people can just be jealous and don't want to see, you know, two people together. However, the fact is you keep hearing the man no want you, him no want you, because sometimes, you know, our eyes are blinded, the blinkers are on and we're blinded. So it is because we're in denial sometimes. Seriously, think about it. When you constantly hear him no want you, she no want you, what do you think? What are you, my really, saying tonight? I want to hear. What can be interpreted here is that the man or the woman really, really don't want you. He or she may not be ready. They may be physically present, but emotionally, they're not there. You ever hear the saying, say the body is here with you, but the mind is on the other side? Something like that. Something like that. Okay, guys? 1 second, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so, you know, it can be interpreted as the man or woman don't want you and they're not ready for a relationship. So, again, I was saying earlier that the body is physically there, but the mind, the emotional side is just not there. Can you force someone to be emotionally there? I don't know. We're going to find out tonight. Sometimes that person may just need some assistance, need some counseling, some therapy. You don't know what they're going through, why they're just emotionally not there. They're just not ready for a relationship. And more time we will see or think that, you know, he or she is more important than you. So it's all about the me, me, me. We don't hear about the we, or the us. We don't hear about that. So when you start talking to him or her, sometimes you'll find that they start to shut down. They start changing the subject. Is that someone who is emotionally unattached, emotionally unavailable? I don't know. Let's see. You can give him or her everything, including love. You do everything for him or her. It's like, what else can I give? What else do I do? You're just not getting the reciprocity. You're just not getting that given back to you. You're just not getting what you're giving returned to you. And it makes you start to wonder, no, what's going to happen eventually? It may cause an unhealthy relationship. It may cause a relationship to go toxic, to go sour. That person is just not ready. That person is just unable to give back to you what you're giving. So we have to be wise. We have to be very cognizant. We can't play blind eye. And one of the reasons that can be is that that individual is emotionally unavailable and emotionally distant. Could be because of some past trauma, could be because of past relationships that they were in, could be a divorce, could be that they were broken, could be that someone hurt them that much and they're still not healed. And they're going on to other relationships just for comfort, trying to get rid of what happened to them and don't realize that they need some sort of help. But because you're so also in blind sometimes, as I said, you're blind, the blinkers cover your eyes, you don't see that this person is just emotionally unavailable. And it is time to remove the beam and look carefully, guys. It's time. Some of the characteristics, we're going to speak about that tonight. They're just detached. One of them could be that they're detached. You're giving them of everything, that the person will take it. Of course, they will take it. But guess what? They will not reciprocate it. In other words, they will not return it to you. Whatever you're doing, them not look on you. It's all about them. It's not about you. Nothing is about you. Everything is about them. The more you give is the more they can't return anything to you. Think about it, guys. So tonight, that is what we're speaking about, emotional unavailable. I mean, one definition when we look on the internet, it could be that that person is just not there for you. And it could be because of some personality disorder. It could be, as I said, because of trauma. And, another thing I wanted to highlight before I forget, in the Caribbean, men are normally raised a way where you'll hear them say, oh, it's not okay for a man to cry. It is not okay for a man to show his emotion. A man must be macho. He must be masculine. He must be rough, tough. And this kind of raising can cause a man or woman, and I'm talking about the man in this sense, but the topic does not only goes for men, it goes for both men and women. But most times, why I stress this point, we find that most times the men are the ones who are emotionally unavailable. Like I said, it goes for both men and women, but most times the men are the ones who are emotionally unavailable. And one of the reasons is because of how they were raised. Like I said, they were raised to be strong. They were raised to say, okay, it's not okay to cry. It's not okay to express themselves. And this could lead to relationship woes. There could be some form of indifference, avoidance, detachment, and these could be some signs of emotional unavailability. Guys, please share the live as you come on in. And it's so funny and weird that sometimes the emotional unavailable ones, they can't even see when someone truly cares about them, to be honest. It's sad, but it is true. It is sad, but it is true. And emotional availability, it describes the ability to sustain, to not sustain rather emotional bonds in relationship. Because when you find that you can't talk to this person, you can't relate to this person, then there is no bond. There's always going to be some level of confusion, some level of insecurity, which only makes the relationship weak. It's pretty much impossible to have healthy relationships without an emotional connection. Think about it. It is pretty much impossible to have a healthy relationship without an emotional connection. Some people think that it's just a physical. Some people think that it's just what the man can present to you or the woman can present to you. You know, it's money. Or I'm working hard. I'm making sure that she has money. I'm making sure that she has a roof over her head. Oh, I'm giving him love. I'm giving him sex. I'm making sure that his clothes are clean and everything like that. But what about the emotional attachment? That is very, very important. Sometimes we forget about that. Emotionally unavailable people, they often tend to find challenges in their relationship. They might prefer to date just casually. So, in other words, when you mention the word relationship to them, it's like you're speaking a foreign language to them because they're just dating casually. And they will just call that relationship that you think you're so bonded in, oh, I'm dating. Have you ever heard that before? Have you ever heard that before? Once there's a sexual chemistry, that's what they call dating sometimes. And I said it goes to both men and women. But sometimes when you think about it, other than the chemistry, other than, that wow moment, there seems to be something off. And you can't put a finger on it right away. But there is something that is off. Maybe they shy away from conversations because remember, especially when you just start dating someone, that is the moment when you try to get to know more of the person. You try to get to know more and they get to know more of you. Communication is very important. Being vulnerable is also very important because vulnerability relates to emotion. A lot of times, we feel that we should not be vulnerable. I'm not saying that you're going to tell this person your whole life story, but at the end of the day, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to let them know that you're vulnerable. So you put yourself in a position where you're not trying to be what you're really not. So you let the person know that, hey, for example, probably you've been hurt before and this is a scenario, but you're willing to give this a try. So you'll find that they may shy away from conversations about emotional experiences, or they talk a lot about their life and interest, but never ask you about yours. They never ask. Or you will probably send them, sometimes you'll probably reach out to them and or say something to them and they will say, oh, right back at you. They never want to express themselves. For whatever reason, they never want to express themselves. That's a form of emotional unavailability. Or I reciprocate what you said. No, I don't want you to piggyback on what I say. I want you to express yourself. How about that? They don't invest in you. So that man or woman, they don't invest in you. You ever hear the saying yet that, always try to stick to the person who loves you or show that love for you more than you trying to run down the other person or force a relationship? These are all concerns when it comes to relationship. And some of these things, they tie into the emotional aspect of the relationship. So there is an apparent lack of investment. And that often makes you wonder if the person even like you, if the person even love you. So there's always going to be some sort of commotion, some sort of confusion. And when you're trying to resolve it, it's like you're going to get nowhere because it's like your thoughts or concerns falls on deaf ears. You want to know if that person have feelings for you. And the only way to know is for them to express that, is to show you. You understand? So your involvement would continue. So you reason that they must have feelings for you because okay, they're physically there. But if you don't look keenly, if you don't look closely, then you would not realize that they're emotionally unavailable. That's just the bad news. It's just reality. What makes a partner emotionally unavailable? Once you recognize that emotional unavailable, okay, one would say that because someone may be nonchalant or less talkative, it could mean that they are emotionally unavailable. So it can be a little bit tricky. It can be a little bit tricky You know what I mean? It can be a little bit tricky. So you now have to be very careful when you're evaluating whether this person is emotionally detached or separated from you, or this person is just, that's just their character, that's just their personality, that's just who this person is. But at the end of the day, once you understand the person, then it makes life much easier. It makes life much more peaceful, less complicated. Emotionally unavailable people, they have they have a way of making you feel great about yourself and also hopeful about the relationship when indeed they're just not emotionally there. So you feel perked up now and you're encouraged, but you never get that connection. You never feel that intimacy. You never really feel that connection, that intimacy. And they might not have the ability to maintain anything beyond just casual involvement at that moment. So it could be that they're also going through something. It could be, like I said, this is very tricky. So we have to look at it from many different angles, because it could be a situation where this person is just going through a phase in their life, midlife crisis, whatever, getting over some previous relationship, or they just have some things in their lives that they want to set straight. We don't know. So if we don't communicate and find out what's going on and express ourselves, or then we're going to be unsure. And we don't want that. Some of the signs that would come off so you have, like I said, you have definite signs that will show you that this person, and if you consistently see these signs, you're definitely going to know that these relate to emotional unavailability. This person is just not emotionally there. They're not ready yet. So they don't like making plans. So you want to find out, what plans are there for the future or immediate plans. They don't like to make plans. That's one of their characteristics. They show that they're inclined less to making commitments. Yes, I said it. They are inclined less to making commitments. So you will never find that person committing to anything. Whether it's a minor commitment or it's a major significant commitment, you won't find them making any commitments. You may suggest that to them, that, okay, let's do this, let's celebrate this, let's do something next week. You make plans and they agree enthusiastically. Oh, yeah. And you feel so vibing, or you're hopeful. Then you ask what day works. When you ask what day works now, then all hell breaks loose. Let me check and get back to you. Have I heard that before? I'll get back to you. Give me some time. I'll hit you up. I'll hit you back. But you never hear back from them. Am I speaking anything that anybody can relate to? You never hear back from them. Or maybe they'll say, me pencil that out, man. We can work on that, but they never come through. They never come through. When the time comes, they have a great excuse for why they can't make it. Sounds familiar? Sounds familiar? Listen, we ain't throwing no corns and shades over here. We're just speaking reality. Like I said, we keep it real. The deal, that's a deal here. We keep it real, uncut, unfiltered. A lot of times we overlook these things, and it's very important, because that's why so many relationships are situationships these days. No longer do we have real relationships, long-lasting relationships. We just have some situationships. We just have some entanglements, so to speak, and nothing lasts. So you find they jump in from one to the other, keep moving, because they're not emotionally attached to anyone. So another characteristics of someone who is emotionally unavailable is that they call the shots. What do I mean? They call the shots. You don't see each other. They tend to choose what you do. They choose something that works for them. There's no form of compromise. There's no form of meeting you halfway. They may put you onto something, even though you've never been there or you've never done it before, or maybe they ask you to help them out around the house or things like that. And like I said, it's not only one species or one particular gender, it goes for both gender, both male and female. But after they put you on what they want you to do, they never ask what you'd like to do. In other words, they just want you to do what they want you to do. They never try to find out what is your desires. What would you like to do? Or they get very irritated when you don't want to go along with their plans or what they want you to do. They get very irritated. In other words, the relationship has to serve their needs, not our needs, not your needs, but just their needs. Like, remember I said from the get-go that it's all about the me, me, me. They don't talk about the we. They don't talk about the us. So that's one way you can know if you're really in for the win in that particular relationship. Another thing that you want to look at, you do all the relationship work. So it's like you want to do everything for the relationship work. You doing the pushing. As I would say, I'm not pushing no water up no mountains. And the little saying in Jamaica also, when I run off a man, when I run down a woman, and what the guy name, where the guy named him now mad over no girl or whatever. I don't remember his name, the Jamaican artist. We know all the sayings. We know all of the sayings. But are we really carrying out in our lives, in our relationship? You can't remember the last time they sent you even a text. It's like you always have to be reaching out to them. You always have to be the initiator. You always have to be the innovative one, coming up with the ideas. They never have an input in the relationship. And it's like you can't even get a direct response from them. Like I said, you're the one sending the messages, reaching out to them, doing the calling, and it would seem like you're a bother to them. And then you get a little bit frustrated. They never set up a date. They never initiate any plans. Emotionally unavailable, it could be. Most times, it's leading to the more percentage of being emotionally unavailable. So you have to look into yourself and say, if you do all the calling, all the texting, all the planning, there's a good chance that this person is emotionally unavailable. Of course, I do enjoy spending time with you. It would seem that way, certainly. It would look that way when it works for them, for sure. They will make sure that it looks like they're enjoying the time spent with you, but when it works for them. So in other words, also, sometimes you find that when you want to see them, they're not available, but they come see you when they want to see you. Doesn't work. When you're not spending time together, you rarely spend time together, you don't hear from them. You hardly hear from them. So when they're away doing their thing, you hardly hear from them. That's a sign of emotional unavailability. Maybe they even take days to respond to you. You don't hear from them for a very long time, or they just ignore some of your messages entirely. Especially meaningful messages. The ones that are meaningful to you, they normally ignore those ones. For example, you're asking a very important question as it relates to both of you. They tend to never normally they shy away from those questions. They ignore them. They might say something like, I'd rather talk about important things in person. And then when you see them, all that gone down the drain. That sounds great to you. Oh, yeah, he or she wants to speak with me in person. Okay, I'll get to see them. Of course. Until they don't follow up, they don't come through, they don't follow through. You can't take them for their words. They avoid the word relationship, like I mentioned earlier. They have commitment fears, they have intimacy fears. The only intimacy is sex. You know, you might spend the night together, meet each other's friends, but they don't want to talk about having an official exclusive relationship. You got to be very cautious. Men and women who are listening, all my realists, you have to be extremely cautious when you're getting involved with someone. Especially, you'll hear the line that I'm not looking for anything serious, or unless, of course, you want to keep things casual, but you will hear those lines, I'm not looking for anything serious. Or they talk a lot about their ex, they talk a lot about their past relationships. They will also say they have a fear of commitment because they've been burnt before, they've been hurt before. But how are you going to move on if you're going to be stuck in the past? How are you going to move on if you're going to be always stuck in the past? How are you going to have healthy, meaningful relationships going forward? They will talk about on you know, there are certain feelings for a friend, unrequited feelings, meaning that they sometimes you see them sit down and it's like them in a la land and you wonder where they are. Them mind that they're thinking about the ex, they them want the ex there to come back. That's what we're talking about when we speak about unrequited feelings. You know, them always a talk about the ex, and they probably try to make you want to look like the ex. They make you want to dress like the ex. Have you ever seen that? You hear a man say, "Oh, but like if I wear this." Sometimes think about it. If you really do your research, you'll find out that some of these men, especially, want you to dress like how their previous partner used to dress or look. Yeah, because they have not gotten over that as yet. Yeah, that's what we talk about unrequited feelings. And that will stifle your relationship. That will stifle your relationship. They're always desiring this person. They're pining. It's like they can't breathe. It's like they can't eat. It's like they can't function without this person. These lingering feelings. That's what we're talking about. So if you see any of these things, you gotta be wary. You can ask them, and hopefully they're willing to express and tell you the truth. So this is about them avoiding relationships because they've not gotten over the previous one sometimes. And it's always possible you caught them at a time when they're not ready to work towards a change. So if you're in a relationship with someone and they're not ready, you can't change anyone. Just remember this. You can't buy love. Money can't buy love. You can't buy love. You can't force them to change. You can't force them to do what they don't want to do. It's like you're leading a goat to water. Goat don't like water. So they have to be willing, ready to open up. They have to be willing to change. They have to be willing to be helped. They have to be very meaningful. What they say is what they mean. What they mean is what they say. When you have emotionally unavailable people, another thing that you'll see is that you never grow closer. You never get closer. It's like the more you're together, it's the more drifted you are. In the beginning, oh, everything is all nice and dandy. You know, the fire is burning, it's blazing, and everything's sprucey and spicy. And of course, sometimes they'll openly share their vulnerabilities to say how much they enjoy spending time together. But things never get serious. That's where the buck stops. Enjoyment. Nothing serious. Nobody don't want to get into nothing too serious. Anytime they see it start get a little serious, they just start drift away, like boats drifting away. Yeah. To you, it's tempting to try to make things work. with this person who is always distance. You might believe that you're not fit enough for this person, you're not good enough, then you start doubting yourself. And you're probably thinking that, oh, they don't find the right person. When nothing is wrong with you, everything is wrong with them. It's like you find yourself thinking that you can't reach them, but somebody else can reach them. They never tend to you, but they always tend to someone else. You ask yourself the question, does your relationship have this potential to last? You're thinking now, because you're thinking that, Lord, I wonder if the relationship will go work. I wonder if it will go last, because you want it to work, because especially if you've been down the road of relationships and you decide to listen, this is it. You want this to work and you're doing everything what God say and you're doing everything what everybody say and it's still not working. It's like you want to go harder. I would say stop for a minute. Breaks irks. And say, hold on. How emotionally available is this person? Because let me tell you, that's how emotional unavailability can trap you, because then you want to put in more because you think that you're doing less when it's just this other person not wanting to commit because they're just not ready for whatever reason. Unless they do some work for themselves, you'll continue to invest all your time and your energy into the relationship with the goal of or the objective of getting close and getting tight knitted someday. It won't work. Not gonna work. While you do that, you know what them do? Them enjoy for themselves over yonder, because for them mind over yonder, or them just want to live freelance, carefree, no responsibility, no accountability. They keep avoiding the reciprocation, meaning they keep avoiding pouring back into you. So you end up finding yourself, you start get feeling stressed, you're feeling drained, you're draining yourself of your energy, you're giving all of your energy when you're not receiving back anything. Then you become emotionally exhausted. Then guess what? Once you become emotionally exhausted, then it's like you can't bother no more. It's like you can't continue to push anymore. So you reach that point, you reach that breaking point. Then that's where you probably start looking into yourself and start questioning yourself, like, hey, what am I doing here? What's really going on? When we spoke about it's about them, the feelings they reflect on just their feelings. It's never anything mutual. It's never any mutual feeling. It's about their own feelings, or they reflect your feelings instead of offering their own. Pay attention. Pay attention to how this individual who is in your life respond when you share your emotions. Pay attention, because if you don't, you will end up being emotionally drained. You'll end up being emotionally exhausted. You'll end up being so stressed, become clinically depressed, ended up in the hospital every minute just because you are trying to push water up a mountain. You're trying to push and force what is not going to be, because like I said, some people are just not ready. Watch and see if this person express their feelings just as you express your feelings, or do they mirror back what you say? I feel the same way, instead of expressing how they feel in their own words. I understand that it may not be the time, but all the time, so it's just not the time? No, man, something wrong. I understand some people also would not like to talk about their emotions all the time, but at least some point in time, you must want to talk about it. Share. Sharing is caring. In a relationship, it is important. Don't tell me nonsense. It is important to connect on all levels, especially emotionally. We keep forgetting that part, guys. We keep forgetting the emotional aspect of our relationship, and that is one of the main reasons why relationships are suffering today. If you can't open up with someone, especially when you're asked direct questions, they shy away from direct questions, then you're not emotionally ready. You're just emotionally detached, separated, and unavailable. And I would ask a question, if someone knows within them, because sometimes I understand that they may not even know that they are emotionally unavailable. Because, until you point out to someone at some point in time, then that's when they will get it and even look into it and say, you know what? Oh, shucks. Wow, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that that exists. So sometimes, we're not here to bash, we're here to assist, we're here to support. And at the same time, we're advocating. So we might end up with someone who is emotionally unavailable. We could be the one who is emotionally unavailable, and we need the assistance to get out of that mess, But again, are you ready? Is that person ready to be helped? Another thing, and this is different from when someone just definitely late, like how some of we female will take forever to get ready. But I mean, even if so, I have learned the hard way. We have to make sure that we keep the communication open. So if you know you're gonna be late, call and say, hey, hon, hey, so and so, I'm running a little bit late, da 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 da. However, one of the other signs of someone who is emotionally unavailable is that they show up late or they blow off plans. So they stood you up. In Jamaican town, we say somebody stood me up. Yeah? Have you ever been stood up before? 1, 2, 3, 4, many times? Have you ever been stood up before? So this could be someone who just, they don't want nobody to see you and them just not emotionally ready. So they're not keeping that commitment. They're not consistent. They keep showing up late. They keep studying you up, standing you up, not blowing off plans, and sometimes without any apology. And when you try to talk about it, here comes what we talked about earlier. They don't want to have a conversation about it. Emotionally unavailable. Them just not ready. They do these things in some subtle little ways, cute little ways to keep their distance. And we don't realize it. Tonight, if someone, you guys are watching and someone wants to call and share your experience, I would love to hear. We have a WhatsApp number, 239-330-5994. The WhatsApp number has changed, guys. So the number is 239-330-5994. That's true, and some people play blind. Hey, Zivens, Miami, how you doing? It's cold out the door. People, Florida, freeze. You think of New York or Illinois or some up north states. It's freezing, guys. This morning I woke up. I'm like, where did I wake up? Where am I? But yeah, guys, the WhatsApp number to call is 239-330-5994. If you want to participate in this conversation, I want to hear your standpoint. I want to hear if what I am saying sounds familiar. I want to hear if what I'm saying is something that you've experienced or you know of and you want to share. Please call in. It's 239-330-5994. There's no need to be shy over here. Nobody has to know who's calling. We just greet you as a realist and you share your point of view. So don't be shy when you come on here in my royal space. We're all royal people and we have a spirit of boldness. You know the deal, we keep it real. You know what I mean? I'm trying to put the WhatsApp number here, guys. It's 239 330 5994. 239 330 5994 if you want to share your experience or if you just want to participate in this conversation today. Again, happy holidays to you guys. Happy holidays. There's a number on screen, 239-330-5994. I'd really like to hear what you guys have to say, because sometimes, when you think of some things or you see some things, it makes you wonder if you're the only person who think of these things or see these things or even experience these things. You'd be surprised to know how many others out there are. And like I said, your concerns concern us, and together we conquer. Back to what I was saying in terms of them just studying you up, leaving you stranded. Sometimes they might still care. There might be some level of care to an extent, and they might even apologize with sincerity. So don't get me wrong. They might still have some form of care, and they might even apologize sincerely to you. But they care more about what they want than what your desires are. And they find it hard to reconstruct, to restructure their life to include you in it. These people, these individuals, they find trouble restructuring their space, restructuring their lives to include you in it. In other words, what I'm saying is that they're not ready to prioritize any relationship needs over their own needs. They're not ready to prioritize you over their own needs. Better watch out, you better watch out, you better watch out. Yes, you understand? Now, ask yourself, like I'm asking myself, could it be that I am also emotionally unavailable, or I am the one emotionally unavailable? Because sometimes we point fingers and we're not looking at ourselves. Maybe some of the signs that we spoke about are some of our own traits. Maybe, which is reflecting. You know what I'm saying? So we have to notice ourselves first, and also notice, because sometimes, people will tell you or point out things to you and we ignore them, we neglect them, we don't pay attention, or you had previous partners who've pointed out something about you as it relates to this topic, emotionally unavailable, but you don't pay any attention to it because you don't care about it, you don't put any thought into it. And so we have to search ourselves, we have to ask ourselves a question, notice ourselves. Is this something that I have a trait for this? Is this something that was pointed out to me before? Am I willing to work on it? It doesn't mean that you've done something wrong. Please don't get me wrong. Being emotionally unavailable doesn't mean that you've done something wrong. You just may not be fully ready to show up and be in a relationship exclusively. Sometimes you may not even realize it. Someone has to point it out to you, like I said. But what I'm saying, if someone points out something to you, especially if it's more than one person who points out this to you, think about it. Try to work on it, at least. Give it a try. When commitments approach, they want to back out. That's another thing we want to talk about in depth. They want to back out of commitments. Let's go back to a simple thing as dating. Like they would say to you some time ago that, okay, we're going to go on a date. And you're there making plans for that date, for whatever date it is, for that date. Yeah? You get excited, giving up your free time. But to them, giving up their free time is the last thing they want to do. So they want to go do what they normally do. They don't want to really spend time with you. So for you on the receiving end, I would say you need to take enough time for yourself, absolute time for yourself. If you end up or they end up canceling the plans, or you end up canceling the plans with your partner more often than not, meaning that for some reason they always have an excuse, so you have to cancel, or they're the ones who are always canceling, then it may be time for you to reconsider if you have made the right choice, if you need to be in this relationship still, or is this person just avoiding spending time with you? So it's your choice. You have to make that decision. You have to intentionally make that decision to figure out, is this what you really want to continue with, especially if you find it happening over and over again. You'd be a fool to just always sit there and be, oh, that's just how this person is. Gotta pay attention. You always be the one operating to keep your options open. If anyone wants to have a committed relationship, then at some point you're going to need to focus on one partner. Because you know what's the problem sometimes? You know why sometimes people are emotionally unavailable? Because they have one too many partners. They have one too many partners. So the focus is like the emotion side can't share. Get what I'm saying? Yes. So if you want to have a committed relationship, if you are the one who is emotionally unavailable and you want to have a committed relationship, then you're going to need to focus on just one partner. Focus on being in a monogamous relationship. Focusing on having just one partner. See what I'm saying? So it is very imperative, it is very important, it is very crucial, it is very vital, it is very important that we have discussions, that we have dialogues with our partners. So we don't want to be thinking that we're in a relationship when it's just an entanglement, when it's just a physical attraction, but there is no emotional attachment. Have talks about relationship goals, like long-term commitment, exclusivity. Exclusive? I just see alone, yeah? And I have a side chick over here, so Mr. Joe over there, so exclusivity. You want to talk about long-term commitments, long-term. You see what I'm saying? Because for me, I'll tell you this. Any man or any woman from the get-go, when they meet someone, they know for sure somewhere in the back of their mind that whether this person is going to be a fling, whether this person is going to be short-term just for a fix, whether this person is going to be just a comforter, whether this person is going to be for convenience, whether this person is just for some time, or whether it's going to be, this is going to be my wife or this is going to be my husband for the long term. We all know at the very first sight, what is it that comes to our mind? What is it that we're feeling? Even though it takes time to get to know each other. Don't leave that out. It does, because you're not going to get to know a person over just one day, a week, a month, several months, or even a year. Because it doesn't matter. If you're going to even be in a long-term relationship with this person, as the years go by, you're still learning this person. But it still doesn't negate the fact that whenever you first hold sight of this person, right away, you know whether or not this person is going to be someone you want to be committed to or not. In essence, that's what I'm trying to say. So it's important, again, it is very crucial that you have dialogue, and it's very important for both parties to express themselves genuinely express themselves. Don't carry nobody around the road. Don't carry no one around the bush. Don't give nobody no hopes up when nothing is there. When all they're holding on to is just air or straw, whatever. It makes no sense. Don't play with people's emotions while you're being emotionally unavailable. Don't do that. That's not nice. Stop continuing to swipe. Stop continuing to search. There comes a point when you need to choose. If that's the case, then it's okay to be truthful, be genuine, and say, you know what? I'm dating. I'm still dating. But don't talk about dating if you're fully involved with someone, because that is a total different kettle of fish. Dating means that you're out there, you're getting to know different people to see, what works for you. When you officially live with somebody, especially for a good little while, that's not dating. That's not dating. So we have to be very mindful. And dating does not equate to sex. Okay? All right. So again, we're learning something here as we continue to discuss this topic tonight about emotional unavailability. It's okay if you don't want to settle with someone who's not exactly the right person for you. That's okay, but I want you to say it. I would prefer that you say it to that other person. Because what you will find, this whole mindset, it limits our ability to give in of our time, to dedicate time and energy to someone who you already care for. You see what I'm saying? We don't want that. Ain't no time to play no games. It's not okay. I'll say that again. Ain't no time to play games. It's not okay. Let us express truthfully how we feel, whether at the moment or for the future. Let us express that. Stop playing with people's emotions. Understand that it's not always possible to find a perfect match, because sometimes you may not love the person at first sight, but you grow to love the person. We understand that. We understand that. But even if the person is not perfect, you still can have a great relationship, and a spectacular, a superb relationship with someone who, because we all have flaws, we all fall short, we're all not perfect, we all don't come with everything. So none of us are completely perfect. So we can work with the imperfections. We grow with each other, we teach each other, we learn from each other, and we make it work together. So for the person who is so emotionally attached versus the person who is not, that emotionally attached individual, whether it be male or female, they worry about losing themselves in the relationship. Or it's the other way around. The emotionally unavailable person would want to think that they fear losing themselves in a relationship. So that's where sometimes the Miss Independent, oh, I'm independent, I don't need no man. You ain't gonna hear me say that. Nope. Oh, I'm married to Jesus. Of course, we know the Bible talk about, the single ones who, yes, are the brides of Jesus Christ. But at the end of the day, God always wants us to have a matchmaker and become one. We know he's the ultimate over us. But at the end of the day, we have to remember that this Miss Independent thing won't work in a relationship. Because when you are in a relationship, then you become codependent, you become interdependent on each other. So with this independence on both sides, people start worrying about getting close romantically, and they fear of losing their independence. So in other words, when you're free, single, and disengaged, you can do whatever you want to do. But then when you come and you form this knit and you form this bond, then you start worrying about not being able to do the stuff. But again, that's why you have communication, because then you're going to let your partner know the things that you like, the things that you don't like, the things that you like doing. And then that's where compromise come into play. You see what I'm saying? So it's not about your way or the highway or your schedule. It has to work both ways. Some people don't want to change. Some don't want to change their life to fit in anyone else. And that's not fair. That's what you call emotional unavailable. That's a part of being emotional unavailable. They don't want to fit in anyone into their space. So they have this guard up, but it's okay to let your guard down. It's okay to give someone else a chance. It's okay to give someone else a chance, because if you're going to be in a relationship or a so-called relationship with someone, you have to let those guards down at some point in time. The sooner the better. It's okay. Every day we get hurt, but does it mean that because we get hurt we're going to stay hurt and then hurt other people? No way, Jose. No way. I believe in second chances. I believe totally in second chances. And you have to give someone else an opportunity to get a part of you, to be connected with you, to be intimate with you, to be really intimate with you, emotionally connected with you. Because then we're going to have problems. You know how women are. You know, we are so emotional. Like I said, we are more emotional than men. So we have to let people in, even after a breakup, even after a divorce, even after someone did us the worst possible things. That does not mean that we don't have good people that exist in the world thereafter. Okay? And that's what we have to do in order to sustain a successful relationship. Like I said, there is no relationship that is perfect. There is none that is perfect, but we can't keep saying that, oh, because there is no relationship that is not perfect, that we keeping ourselves away and causing confusion, causing chaos that leads to toxicity in a relationship, causing an unhealthy relationship, because then both parties suffers. More than likely, one is going to suffer than the other. I understand also that trust does not come easily. Sometimes we have to take time out to explore new things and to relearn. You ever hear about relearning? Sometimes we've already learned, but because we've been through so many things in life, so many distractions, so many detours, we have to relearn. So we have to be willing to explore, to relearn, to know what feels right in a way, what feels right for you, but you don't want to be selfish, because I believe that some people who are emotionally unavailable are also selfish at the end of the day. So back to trust. Trust doesn't come easily. And it doesn't come easily to someone who has been betrayed before. So with these people, like I said, we have to search ourselves. That includes me. I'm also speaking to myself. When I come on here, I'm also learning. Your concerns concern me, and together we conquer. So trust doesn't come easily. And in order for us to break that barrier, to make it easier for someone to trust us, we have to be open. We have to expose our vulnerabilities. We have to. There's no other way around it. So if we were betrayed before, of course, our trust, we're going to have the guard up, like I mentioned earlier. And then that makes you want to keep your emotions and your thoughts locked down. So you're holding on to these emotions and thoughts. So, in other words, what you say to yourself, that nobody can use it against you again. So probably somebody had used something against you before and it hurt like crazy. It hurts. But how are you going to get over that hurdle if you keep holding on to that? That's going to be like poison in the next relationship. And Another thing I want to say that emotionally unavailable people will also attract emotionally unavailable people sometimes. They sometimes, most times, end up with emotionally unavailable people. So it's two of a bird of a feather flock together, two of a kind in one pea pod, that kind of thing. So it's like it will be good for that person to be to them, okay, the person they're doing the same. So in other words, the person you don't really care what me want to do, me don't really care what the person want to do, but when we connect, and if we're not connect, it's okay with each other. Me not depend that. Me personally not depend that. Nope. No. We gotta connect together. I always say, if I'm in a relationship and I don't care what my man want to do, then not me to say me definitely having thoughts or I'm out there doing my thing. And sometimes it's not anything good. You understand? Likewise, if a man in a relationship and he's gonna talk about, oh, he don't care about what you want to do, then obviously he doesn't care because he wants to do what he wants to do. Likewise on the female side. I'm telling you, if you should think about it or look into your life, some people's lives that you see, you'll see that what I'm saying is just snapper facts. If you're in a relationship and you don't care about your partner, you want to be free. You want to be freelancing. You want to do what you want to do. You don't want to be held responsible. You don't want to be held accountable, and vice versa. That's what you'll find. So if you find out and realize that you have this pattern that's revolving, like a revolving door, where you are always ending up in relationships with people who are emotionally distant, these are always the type of partners that you end up with. Consider whether you are getting back what you are putting out. And I'm speaking to myself also. I like to be fair when I have these conversations. I don't like to seem biased or one sided. So I try to put forth information or whatever I'm presenting in an unbiased way. Now, one would ask, where does emotional unavailability comes from? You heard me say in the beginning, sometimes men were raised, especially in the Caribbean, to be tough and rigid. So it grows with them and it spills over into relationships. There are many different reasons, but you know, think about it. Childhood attachment also. How were you as a child? How were you raised as a child? Were you avoided? Were you rejected? Were you abandoned? What was the relationship with you as a child and your parents? Because these things hone and shapes an individual. Sometimes it's innate, sometimes it's behavioral patterns that we learn, and sometimes, monkey see, monkey do. Sometimes it's the love and the affection and that part that we didn't get as children. We grew up with that and we become so rigid. It's like we can't bend. Someone tries to show us something different. We don't want to adapt. We're not wanting to conform. We are not wanting to change our ways. Could be. As adults, when we become adults, we are so inclined to what we were raised up as. Were our parents romantic partners? Were our parents always fighting? Think about it. These are patterns that we tend to follow and lean towards. Sometimes people have personality disorders that could lead to emotional unavailability. And as I said, it's a tricky thing. So we have to be very careful because sometimes some of these tendencies can necessarily not mean that this person is emotionally unattached. It could be a temporary circumstance where they're just not available at that particular moment because of whatever mental challenges that they're going through. As I said, they could have just gotten out of a relationship, so they're not healed yet, so they're not ready yet. But some people, they don't know how to be alone because they equate being alone to be lonely, or they think that being alone means that they are lonely. Sometimes we have to take a step back, give ourselves time to heal, give ourselves time for ourselves before we jump into another relationship. But you have some people who they take on another relationship per se because they want to forget about that one. And what you'll find is that that one will never work. It will never, most times, 99% times, it will never work because you're going to that new relationship for the wrong reason. Because we don't know how to be alone. We don't know how to take time out. We don't know how to cry cree, you know? And some of us, we struggle with that challenge. We struggle with that challenge of taking the time out to find time for ourselves, to search, do retrospect, introspect, to find ourselves. We just always want someone to be there. And then that's how people end up getting hurt. And that's why you hear say the man no want you, the woman no want you, them just use you. And sometimes it is true. Sometimes you may find that someone wants to focus on their career, someone may be career driven, or they feel like life is catching up with them and hey, I have not achieved this yet. And so the mind becomes so clogged, they're not able to function properly in a relationship. And then that may also come off as being emotionally unavailable. So again, we have temporary circumstances that could come off as, oh, that person just not emotionally there. But we have to give and take. We have to know when to dissect. And we have to know when and how and where to meet that person halfway. Again, that person have to be willing to express themselves and to be willing to get help if they need it, and be willing to change on their own because we can't change anyone. And if you have difficulties, it's okay to ask for help. Something might come up unexpected where, they're just wanting to focus on something. But again, if you don't speak, then I can't understand. If I don't speak, then you can't understand what's going on. It could be because of some breakup grief, like I said, or some death in the family where someone is grieving. Someone probably just lost their job, because grieving, when we hear the word grieving, we tend to right away think of it, of death. Grieving doesn't necessarily always mean that someone dies. So someone could be grieving because they lost their job, they just got a divorce, someone just left them, they just broke up with someone, they just, it could be anything. Somebody was cheating on them, you have some unpleasant breakup, some unexpected breakup, something that you didn't even see coming. Relationship got sour. So these are things that can contribute to probably someone becoming less of themselves, thinking less of themselves, having low self-esteem, which would make it even more difficult to be intimate with someone, to be emotional, to show or express their emotions with someone. And so we have to have dialogue. We need to find out what's going on so that we can assist, or we can, say, okay, you need some help, you need some therapy, you need to what's the next step? Where do we go from here? What is it? What are we doing? It doesn't have to always be permanent, it could be something temporary, but it is something that is complex. It is a complex situation. There could be other underlying issues, causes that may make it even harder for the person to overcome. And that's where the experts would come in, because then and there you can't do anything about it, and then you have to direct them to an expert. And sometimes some people think that, oh, others can't help them, or they're the only ones who can help themselves. But I want you to know this, that change only happens when you are willing to work on it, by you also creating that change. You can't make that person become more available to you if they're not ready. But what you can do in the meantime, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to give up on the person. Sometimes that's just your test. Sometimes you're placed into that person's life strategically. You don't know what the reason why God placed you in that person's life. So you bring up the concerns about their behavior. Like, for example, you're always avoiding our conversation. You're always avoiding making plans or sharing your feelings. You bring up the conversation to them because we have to learn to face our fears. If we don't face our fears, then we're always going to be living in fear. And fear can cause you to go down, to spiral down the drain. We point out these things. You don't have to be rough. You don't have to, make them feel unworthy or, unwanted. You can do it compassionately, empathetically. You can also share. If you were also down that road, you can let them know, listen, it's okay. I know what you're going through. I have been there. If it's something that you've never been there, you can say, I understand what you're going through. So you can be compassionate when you're pointing these things out because, being inconsiderate and harsh will only make the matter worse. And it will negatively affect the relationship. So you want to encourage them to connect. Connect with someone who can assist them, a therapist, a counselor. Go to couples counseling. A lot of people are afraid of going to counseling as couples. But I think these days it is important. Go with them. Be their support. Be their anchor. Encourage them. Support them. Especially when they're willing to open. Don't be judgmental. Don't be too quick to be judgmental. And it's not okay when someone opens up to you, especially being vulnerable, and then you use back that thing at them to slap them in their face. That's never a nice thing to do. So, just think about it. Think about it. If you're trying to be supportive and to be emotionally there for someone who is not emotionally available, then you have to be strategic. You yourself may also want to be emotionally more available. So it's like there's a twist to it because in the get-go, someone might say, okay, but if this person is not pouring or investing in me, why should I invest in the person? But sometimes you'd be surprised to see that the more you pour out, it's like then after a while, this person has no choice but to reciprocate. You know what I'm saying? So when someone, it's just like if someone is always being bad with you and you say, you know what, irrespective what, I'm going to be good to this person. It's like after a while, it falls off on the person and the person start to do good. So it depends on your level of patience as well. It depends on your level of patience. How far are you willing to go with this person? Where do you cut off? What are your boundaries? You still have to have boundaries. You still have to have standards. You still have to. But how willing are you? How far? What extra mile are you willing to go? And it is important for even us as parents now to teach our boys especially that it is okay to express themselves. Sometimes we're quick to tell them to shut up. No, I hear nothing. Shut up. And you let them feel inferior too. So it's okay as parents these days. We got to change the way how we raise our children because things can come to haunt us when we get older, when we become adults. And we have to learn to love them, even though sometimes we have to give them tough love. But, we have to learn to show them love because love is a verb, it's an action. And when we don't instill these qualities, then here comes problem in the future. So we got to know what we're doing and how we're doing. And we have to identify these causes that is causing problems. And we have to explore them, explore the issues, no matter how cold or how challenging it may seem. Because what it does, it gives us insight on how to deal with this situation. And this situation that we're speaking about is the ones who are emotionally unavailable. If you've gone through a breakup or you've experienced something similar, let's say, for example, you experienced a breakup and you found a way of overcoming that, you can also share that with this person. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that what works for you will work for what good for the goose, good for the gander. But at least when you say, you know what, I've been there too, or I've been through worse than you, and this is how I dealt with this, and this is how I was able to overcome and move forward. Sometimes a person may just need some more time. It's okay, but then they will also have to express. They have to be vocal. A closed mouth don't get fed. You know, so sometimes we just may need some time before we get close to each other, and that's why I said it's okay to be alone. Better you be alone than go and play with another person's emotions, because then if that person do not understand what you're going through, or is not willing to understand what you're going through, or you're just downright emotionally unavailable, then that is going to cause problem, unhealthy relationships. So we got to practice to open up. It's okay to open up. It's okay. You don't have to tell the whole life story, but it's okay. Understand that if there are something more serious like, childhood neglect, like I said, it is important. It can affect one's ability to get close. You have some people who sometimes yesterday they seem standoffish and they seem distant. It's because of these things. So we have to find out what's the underlying issues that's causing these things, and we have to find out the coping mechanism. So, how did I cope? Like I said, I could share it with you. How did I cope with any effects of trauma or abuse? Could be an abuse that a person went through, verbal, physical, you name it. But all of what I'm saying, it does require some level of support, and sometimes we have to elevate to get professional support. Again, practice opening up. We have to be willing to open up. It is very helpful. And, the more you're comfortable with expressing your emotions on your own without anybody having to force you or prompt you, then the better it will be. You'll find it easier to share your emotions with a romantic partner. Romantically, you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. So consider these things. Some people they do journals. They keep journals about the way they feel so another person can read it. Again, probably they're not so verbal, they're not so expressive, so they write. Some people turn to music, and it's like with that music they are emotionally expressing themselves. We have to learn to trust people irrespective, or talk to people who we can trust. Like, we could probably have a close friend, a family member, could be even a stranger, and we trust that person. But, speak about your emotions. Share those emotion issues, whatever you're struggling with, your vulnerabilities, especially the first time when you're getting to know your other half, It's okay to share that. Not everybody gonna use it at you. And heck, if that person even use it at you, then that tells you what kind of person that is. A low person, low life person. It is what it is. And it's okay to take it slow. I understand that it's okay to take it slow, but not forever. You know what I mean? Not forever. Once you realize that you are becoming, or you find out that you're emotionally distant, then you might want to change that immediately. Because as I said, sometimes we may not realize it until it's probably too late, or, when we're far gone into it. But it's okay that once that moment arrives that you realize it, that you need to initiate that change. And it doesn't happen overnight. I'm not saying that it's going to happen overnight. Nothing happens overnight, because even Jesus Christ took 7 days to make this world. Nothing happens overnight, and him take 1 day for rest. So it's okay to take it slow. It's not realistic. Understand that it's not going to happen overnight, but the sooner the better. It takes time. Pushing and rushing may even make it worse. I understand that. Because sometimes some people are just not ready yet. And then my thing is this. So on the flip side, if you're not ready yet, then I'll probably say that, I'll give you your space. Give that person their space so that they can focus and concentrate. Once they are at that space, then you can get back together. That's okay too. I think that's a good approach. Gradual changes. Gradual changes. It never hurts to step out of your comfort zone. It never hurts to step out of your comfort zone. Sometimes we're too comfortable. We're so comfortable that we think that if we step out of that comfort zone, oh, we're not going to make it, or things are not going to work. The devil is a liar. Get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes we're too comfortable. We need to get uncomfortable. But we need to not forsake the issue. We need to tend to it and tend to it fast, even though we're taking it slow. Involve your partner. If you want it to work, it's the best thing to do is to involve your partner in whatever you do. Some people will say, oh, you want to know too much. Oh, you want to know too much. Why not? The more I know, the better I know how to deal with this person. The better I know how to deal with the relationship. The better I know how to deal with the relationship. Out. Yes. Sorry about that, guys. The better we know how to deal with the relationship. So sometimes it's not so much of wanting to know everything, but communication is key. Expression is key. So we got to explore some of the factors, that contribute to emotional unavailability, and we got to be willing and ready to work on it to overcome, to become more available, to involve our partners more, communicate with your partner about what you've learned. And it's okay to relearn. It's okay to relearn. And you may find that you have an easier time, getting the support as well when you're more interactive, because then the other person will have a better understanding and they're willing to understand why you tend to pull away, what is causing you to pull away, and all of that. So share your emotions. If you don't want to talk, leave some note right then. Send a text, write a note, put it somewhere where your partner is going to see it. Those games sometimes it's fun. Relationship is fun. Relationship is not, it's not supposed to be rigid. Relationship is supposed to be fun. Fun. Yeah? Relationship is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be so rigid and uptight. Relax, man. Relax. Level the vibes. We are level the vibes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Spend time with people. Spend time with the people who you love. Spend time with the people who you care about. Spend time with your partner. Spend time with people. Because in that time, when you're spending time, you're getting to understand each other better. And then if you were used to being so detached or unattached, when you spend time with people, it helps to alleviate the emotional unavailability, the emotional detachment. So you're becoming more attached. It's helping the relationship. It's changing the unhealthy patterns. It makes you better understand your relationship. Think about, look back at and see probably your mother, your parents, or your grandparents. They were in strong long-term relationships. Think about those positive relationships, the ideal relationships. People spend good quality time, good amount of time. Understand your partner's love languages. A lot of us, we ignore our partner's love languages. It doesn't mean anything. And it is important. Some things may not give you a full picture, but it can also provide some useful insights. You understand? So you have to get to know each other. You have to spend time. You have to talk to each other. You understand? As I said, emotionally unavailability doesn't mean that it has to be permanent. It could be something that is temporary and it can be worked on. Talk to a therapist. If you don't want to talk to your partner, then get some help. Talk to a therapist who can assist you. You can open up to the therapist, and the therapist can guide you along the right road. But it is best sometimes to have counseling to get there, because then what you see or what you don't see, someone else can see and point it out. And sometimes we take things from other people who we think are independent people. We don't want to hear from our partners, but we will listen to someone else. And sometimes we have to be mindful of some friends too, because some friends, they're not really giving you any good advice. They want to see you unhappy. So we have to be very, very careful. You know, I'm sure, you may also want to think, can emotionally unavailable people fall in love? Are they ready? Can they fall in love? Of course, they certainly can. Of course, nothing is set in stone. They may just have a harder time, but they can. hmm One would want to ask then, if someone is emotionally unavailable, how do they show their love? How do they show their love? They might not say, I love you. So, like, you tell them that you love them, you might not get it back. They may not tell you how much you mean to them. Instead, they might just express their feelings through gestures or actions. They might do something nice for you, no matter how big or small. They might do something that's nice, that they consider nice for you, or surprise you with a gift. And of course, these things make you know that they're thinking of you. And like I said, they can think of you, and they can care about you even though they're emotionally unavailable. But it's for you sometimes to pull what is to come out of them, so that it can prompt them to be a better person. So I don't know what's your take on it, guys. I hope that you have learned something tonight. I don't want to be here. I got things to do. And I hope that this information, someone got something from it, and you can share it. Please share the live, guys. Like I said, if we don't, then we're not going to be able to get past the algorithm of the social media, whether it be, on here or another medium. So we have to share. If you think that what is being discussed here is of any importance, then I would love for you to please share, get the word out there, so that we can have, we can cultivate a community where we can come on a weekly basis and have dialogue. We can speak about sensitive topics, topics that are thought provoking, topics that nobody seems to want to. Good night, good night. Zivet Natural Canada, Keisha Wagwan. Boy, me say Florida cold like a puppy nose, may I tell you. Can just imagine Canada at this time. Everywhere, even Georgia, I'm telling you, it's freezing. Yeah, guys. So, just let's work on ourselves. And if we find that we are the one who is emotionally unavailable, let's work on ourselves so that we can be there when we're in a relationship, and we're not seeming distance, we're not seeming selfish, we're not seeming that, we're thinking about somebody else. We're not being just physically there when our mind is somewhere else. Because at the end of the day, it's only going to lead to unhealthy relationship. It's only going to lead to single, pure single people, and just situationships. And I mean, how many of us just want to be in a situation? How many of us just want to be entangled? I say, listen, it's freezing cold everywhere. I don't know what's going on. My God, mighty God. I say, this morning wake up, I'm like, listen, where am I? I thought I was upstage for a minute. But yeah, guys, these are the things that we talk about. We shy away from it. We don't want to talk about it, not even our relationship. We don't want to talk about it openly, but these are things that I'd like to speak about because it affects somebody. It is affecting someone, and whoever is being affected, sometimes they don't know, or even if they know, they don't know what they should do. And that's why I'm here to shed some light on topics like these. And when I come here, like I said, I'm always learning with you guys. Each one teach one, and it reach one. You know what I mean? Your concerns me, and together we conquer. We're here to be our brothers and sisters keeper. Talk about real life situations, real life issues. All right, guys. So happy holidays to you. I hope you all are enjoying the season. You know, stay focused. You're ending the year on a good note, starting the year on a good note. Just think life, think positive, and try to make a change, try to be the change. Change is a good thing. Change doesn't necessarily mean that it's always a bad thing, guys. So, this episode is brought to you by Dr. Rose Lewis. Like I said, guys, please go out and vote for her. She's a part of the you are doing a very good job at it, Juan. Thank you so much, Keisha. Thank you. People love the mix up also. When they're talking about these things, nobody don't want to come and sit and listen. But that's okay. That's why you guys got to share the word, share positive messages, share uplifting and inspiring messages so that it can benefit another person. And, to let another person know that they're not in this all by themselves. We're all in it together. You know what I mean? Yeah. So again, please go out and support Dr. Rose Lewis. This segment today was brought to you by her. And she's making a change in the community. She's making a change in the community. Registration, I think, has already started, and it ends on January 2. And voting, I think, ends on January 27. All right, guys, so the information is right there. Dr. Rosemary Lewis. You can receive your email ballot from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. And remember to vote. I think it starts January 10 and ends on January 27. People like this who are willing to make a change, we want to be on that bandwagon. We want to be the change that we see that is happening. All right, guys? So please remember to vote, 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 vote. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend. And be a part of that change that we want to see. That change starts with us. All right, guys, so I have nothing else to say for tonight. I mean, I don't know, you guys are my realists, whatever, is your concern. If there's a topic that you want for me to discuss, if there's a topic that you want for me to discuss, you can always reach out to me. The WhatsApp number is 239-330-5994. But sometimes, we're shy and we would like to hear someone else speak about it while we participate. So always feel free to reach out to me and bring the topics, bring the ideas coming in so that we can discuss them together with the world. Like I said, we're always in this together. No man is an island and no man stands alone. And men, especially men, as it relates to this topic tonight, I'm asking you guys that please step up the game, step up the game, step up the game. You understand? I mean, women would think that men are not emotional too, but men are also emotional. Men are also emotional. You understand? So we have to remember that we're not the only emotional creatures on this earth. Men are also emotional. So sometimes we have to just take time with them and bring them. You know what I mean? Sometimes we got to take time with them too and remember that they're humans just like us females. Sometimes we tend to be the stronger ones. And so, being the stronger one, we have to be more supportive of our men and bring them. You know what I'm saying? Anybody agree with what I'm saying? Anybody agree with what I just said? You understand? It's okay to be there for them. It's sometimes we can't be too quick to push them aside and say, you know what, me done, can't bother. It's okay to be by their side again, unless you really say that this person just nagamic, then you just gotta let go. But be willing to trod the road with that partner. As long as that partner is willing to yeah. So again, I hope that you understand what emotional unavailability looks like, feels like, sounds like, what it is really, and some of the signs, some of the causes, and how we can rectify. Because that's what we normally do when we come here. We don't just only speak about it or just define it, but after we define it, we talk about it in depth, and then we talk about resolution. So we don't leave here with just the problem. We always try to find a solution to any issues that we speak about or that we encounter. Because as we hear and as we know, it doesn't make any sense we dwell on the problem. We should seek solutions to the problem so that we can alleviate these issues and problems in the future, or for these problems from reoccurring. All right, guys? So have yourselves a happy Christmas tomorrow. Christmas is in a few hours for some of us. Some places have already experienced Christmas, like those places that are hours ahead of us. We know some places are still hours behind us, but whenever it's your Christmas, I hope you have a great Christmas day. Stay warm, stay dry, stay safe, be at peace with yourself, be at peace with others. All right, it's a peaceful time, guys. So let us just continue to maintain a peaceful moment, a peaceful mindset, and enjoy. Have yourselves a beautiful night. It's your girl, Royal Cleopatra, coming to you live from Florida. And again, happy holidays. Happy holidays to you one and all. Happy holidays.
Yeah, man, this is Cleopatra. It's a mess with the queen. It's a mess. Invigorates and inspired. It's a mess. Yeah, man, she came and she saw. Yeah, she was a coward, but she conquered. You see me, I say, so come join. The inspiration and the edification, you see me, I say, with the tips of humor. You see me, I say, endorsed by ladies, you see me, I say, uplifting and inspiring, This is original Little Kirk say, hey, Cleopatra, them can't hold it down no time. Good over evil, set it! Or it never yet pets it. Hey, the beauty queen, straight, Cleopatra, whoa, yeah. Most I bless you, beauty queen, done them in the scene now, yeah. Cleopatra tell them then can't hold Pacha down. You see the most I alone him with a triple crown. Yo, can't hold Cleopatra down. She keep burning them with words, powers and a sound. Joy, can't hold Pacha down. And this a serious thing, this a no merry-go-round. No merry-go-round, them can't hold her down, yeah. Check it out, you see the most I clear our path right now, session and just a shoulder, yes, after that, yeah. Him give her a clean hands and
Greetings and blessings. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Brother Madu, and I'm here simply to endorse something I became a part of. It's a program called Uplifting and Inspiring. And the words that grabbed me was the bit which says, your concerns concern us, together we conquer. This is a live program that is hosted by an African queen called Cleopatra, right? Where she discusses and talks to people who does exactly that, uplift and inspire. So tune in to all the social media platforms. It's Sundays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay? Support the thing, because I believe in this new rearranged world, when people are doing anything that uplifts and inspires, it needs to be supported. So Brother Madu, aka Father Soji, from the Qualitex crew, fully endorses this program. Check it out. Uplifting and inspiring. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, this is Cleopatra. It's a mess with the queen. It's a mess. Invigorates and inspired. It's a mess. Yeah, man, she came and she saw. Yeah, she was a.
Hey guys, that's it. I'll see you next Saturday, right here, same place, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on QC Uplifting and Inspiring Ministries International and Reality TV on YouTube. Please go over there, subscribe, and share with each other. See you guys. Good night.